So I'll just like repeat once more. We'll start in a minute or two. So. Okay, so welcome everyone to the first session of ideation conducted under the banner of Technovation. So the idea of this session is here we will develop a bit into the first step to any successful startup, the idea. Now, ideation is a pretty misleading term. One would naturally associate it with, like coming up with a plan for a problem. Now, that's not the only thing you are after, You need to come up with a cost-effective and efficient idea, not just any idea. So this, as mentioned before, like in the everything just I said, it is not very easy task. It's a pretty daunting task. But lucky for you, we have invited some speakers who have been in your shoes before, and they have come up with ideas similar to yours, and they have also guided many hundreds of projects, and they will share some of their projects with you and give you a structure of how they came up with the plan and how they implemented it. So before a note, before we start our session, just a note. This is supposed to be a interactive session, so make sure you interact with the speakers. The speakers will also make sure that they ask you questions, and so if you have any questions pertaining to the general chat, just add them to chat, add it to everyone. And if you have any specific question for a speaker, uh, you can always ping the specific speaker through the Zoom meeting. So yeah, and yeah, we have disabled the mic for everyone except the speakers, obviously. So if you guys have any doubt which needs to be answered and not in chat, you can raise your hands. So with that, I would like to call upon my first speaker, call upon the first speaker, Nambi Lakshmi Ramachandran. So Nambi Lakshmi was project nominee in the past year, and she'll talk a bit about Technovation in general and then go to the specifics of the project. So over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Am I visible now? Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Nambi Lakshmi, you're visible.
Hello. Yeah. Thanks for the introduction, Jeff. So I'll be briefly talking about three things. The first one would be the history of Technovation and what is the main difference between Technovation and ITSP, the thought process. And thirdly, about my own project, which I did under Technovation. So moving on to the first point, Technovation is not a recent thing. Currently, we are in the 8th year of it. In the last two editions, I participated in the two editions before this. After that, it was rebranded as Founders Garage, and now we are back to Technovation. The basic idea is taking up tech projects which are performing good towards the society or even groundbreaking research, whichever way things go, and commercializing it. We are different from other startup incubators because initially we give much more priority to the idea and the actual work behind it rather than the capitalization part. So the business model and the economics behind the idea comes later on, quite late, as compared to other startup incubators and programs as such. So moving on, that basic difference between Technovation and ITSP. When Technovation is talked about, usually we say you can continue your ITSP project, boost it up, or just make some tweaks and include for Technovation. But there's a slight difference. The ideation involved is much higher than ITSP, obviously. You are expected to apply much more than what you learned in your first year. But what is different is in ITSP, it's more like a hobby project. If you're comfortable with the idea, if you want to try something new, that's where ITSP is okay. Like I have my roommate who made a video game in her first year, but currently she's doing a PhD in chemical engineering. So when you see it that way, ITSP is more of hobby projects. But when you get into Technovation, you really need to be sure with your idea. You need to believe in the idea which you are putting forward, which you want to develop. So I would say more than 1/3 of the work is done when you put forward your idea and you believe in it. The working part and how the hardware manufacturer or software integration goes about, that comes much later. Once you start believing in what you're going to make, much of the hurdles are crossed. Many people, even in my year, what happens is they start on an idea because it's in news, which is the general mindset of ITSP. So you go about, you check out things which are in news, which are in trend, you start trying on it. But it's not necessary that it's required in the market, because if it's on news, which means other people are already making it, first point. And secondly, what's on news may not be the one which you're actually interested in. So I will suggest not to follow the general mindset. Go about scouting for regular ideas. So you don't want to make 11th new thing for 10 existing things. You want to make the first new thing, or at least the second new thing. Don't go about making something which is already there. So yes, first would be the mindset difference between your ideation, and a much greater component would be actually believing in your idea and why it is required. So if I were able to say as how I got about my project, my actual project was a cardiac health device. It was a miniaturized device aimed for rural populations. And there were quite a lot of things which weren't like did as it was planned. So according to the original timeline, we didn't follow any of the original timeline. Our ideation was pretty late. And to top it all, we were a team of two. One of them was a blockchain enthusiast, and I was with the machine design and mech. So neither of us were into biomedical. But when we started out, our only aim was that we had to do something new, which we realized quite later on was not the approach we had to take. But luckily for us, we found a topic which we believed in and thought had potential. And at that time, it did have potential, because when we started working on it, we didn't actually go into the specifics of the tech, which is the first thing we should have done. But on the plus side, what we also did was we did a very thorough market survey. So yeah, Kritika, the project was a device. The device is a handheld device, which could be used for diagnosing your cardiac health status. So if I were to use a device on any person, rural population, so it was aimed at bridging the divide for the need of a medical infrastructure. Usually, if you were to go in and go for a full body health checkup or just your cardiac health, it usually requires a multi-specialty hospitals and quite a bit of money. And in many of the cases, it also turns out that the whole exercise was futile and everything turns out normal. So the project essentially was to make a device. So all that tests, the battery of tests which is required, is not needed. And unless the machine declares or puts up results, that is worrying. that, okay, the health status is not good for the heart and you should take a more proactive approach or something, only then it's needed to go for higher specialized clinics or hospitals. Because since the amount of money required was close to zero for it, and also it's small in size, it could be used almost everywhere. So the device we ended up making was actually a handheld device plus a mobile app, which took input from the patients about what are the symptoms they are facing. I'll come to the details later, but this is what the general project was. So yeah, coming back to the workflow we did. Initially, we didn't focus on the tech part much. We had an idea, and it was a good idea because when we did market survey, there wasn't anything like that. Secondly, if when we approached doctors which we knew, they gave us testimonials on why a device such as this is needed, which was a good backing. If you're going to your doctor and he or she feels that it's a great device, especially in the field of biomedical, they're specialists in their field, and if they think that's a need, so that's a good push to go through. And thirdly, there was one more thing, since the stakeholders and the people who will be mainly affected were of primary health clinics mostly. So we also had a social concept towards it. We had channelized a social impact. So even if we were not, worst case, if we weren't even able to support anything else, we could have gone with a social approach. So that was our backup. So if anyone were to say why you're making this device, first and foremost would be, of course, to bring down the diagnosing time, to bring out the money spent, etc., etc. And to bring about the social impact was the backup which we had. So even if anyone like does everything of this, like comes up with something which gives results faster, this, that, everything, we still had a point which said, okay, our device is minute enough, can be transported, so we are aiming for social health. This was one of the brownie points, I would say, which we put forward. So the whole market survey itself took us around 2 months, which is now, which I realize is a bit much, because at that time we were also doing our internships and parallelly we were doing this. But nevertheless, things turned out right. We had our ideation, we had a market survey, and to some extent we had a tech. Now, because of this, what happened was, when we got back to the institute and started working on it, we did the initial part of hardware and software. And for basic cases, the machine gave us results. But till then, since we didn't have any proper approach, as in, if you take a machine design course, mech people, or a similar course, usually there are steps to develop something. You bring up an ideation, you see everything. You first thing is you bring up a CAD, you bring up the dimensions and everything. But the first prototype which we made was actually a small ECG board, and we were just connecting electrodes. Everything was open. We didn't have an artist's imagination. We didn't have a CAD. We had nothing. This is what we had. So the first time we saw results, it was a mess, but things were working. That's what our first prototype results were. But one thing which we didn't realize at that time was, if we were to augment our data, or if we were to actually customize it for the entire population, we needed much more data than we had. And initially, we did do a checklist for that. So we had data from America, which was available online. But the unexpected problem which we faced was, the actual conditions of human art in India and America are slightly different, mainly due to the surroundings which we live in, environment, and all that. But that one roadblock caused us a lot of time delay. But parallelly, because of this, what happened was, since our prototype started working for at least one person, we started to exhibit the idea. So we started with the Tech and R&D Expo at our institute itself. Then we went to Inter-IT and a couple of alumni presentations. So later on, we got response from the alumni, which was unexpected. So the roadblock and the reply sort of nullified each other, except for the time which we lost. So if we had networked and if we had like thought of this error before, so instead of just taking the inputs of a doctor saying why this is needed, if we had been more in consultation with them saying, okay, so what is the likely problems that we are to face? So that aspect of this, the whole problem caused us to lose a month. But later on, things worked out for us. And before COVID, we actually had a professor from the institute backing and a couple of alumni giving us data sets for training. So right now it's in a hibernation state, and a couple of people around the world have come up with similar devices over the last year. So it's not novel anymore, because also the time which you launch it matters. Needless to say, with any idea, the launching is important, because if someone else is going to launch it before you do, whatever you're doing doesn't matter later on. So yeah. So pointers, quite simple. Don't worry about the field. Whatever field you think that you don't know, you can sit and learn. At max, it takes a month, even if you're too lazy to do it. So the learning part takes only a month. So you don't need to worry about that. Don't be restricted to the field you are studying or currently majoring in. That's common with ITSP. Secondly, believe in your idea. And as far as possible, whatever are the requirements, talk to the experts in your field, talk to your seniors or alumni who are already professionals in the field. It helps just speed up things a lot. And once you have something that works, something you can showcase. So for me, that came, even though we had all the things working, we had boards, we had an oscilloscope showing results. Things started working for us when we actually made the CAD. So we started the project in April, but the first CAD was made in October. That's like 6 months apart. And that too because we were to present in Tech and R&D. But once people get to know that things work and you showcase them, normally all the population starts falling in line. So if you're able to influence them and show them results, nothing much matters after that. But yeah, do keep some of these points in mind. Okay, Jay, I'm done. Thank you for the time. If anyone has questions, you can put in the chat box.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your suggestions and your sharing of your experience. So next up we have Anirudh Mittal, who was a past GSTA. He will speak about his idea, and over to you.
Yes, so I don't really have a very fixed project that I can explain like Ramilakshmi did. But what I'll do is first I'll try to convince you guys to actually spend some time on building something. And then maybe I'll discuss some of the projects that I have done, just so that, you know, in case you're stuck with coming up with ideas, you can maybe take inspiration from them. So to build a case on why you should actually build something in college, there is this quote you can see on the screen by Naval Ravikant. I'm not sure if you guys know who Naval Ravikant is, but he's super famous on Twitter. He's an entrepreneur and a very famous investor. So as you can see, the quote says, if you can't code, write books and blogs, record videos and podcast. What it is essentially trying to say here is the joy you get from building stuff, creating stuff is unparalleled. You can not do anything else. There is nothing else that can match the joy you get from building stuff. You will see famous entrepreneurs who have made a lot of money, but they still, even after they are done, they go and build stuff just because they might be happy on one aspect of the life, but without building, they cannot be happy. So, and you will also realize if you can just try to, remember your past 1 year, even if you created anything small, any video, any small project, the joy you get after you complete that thing, after people maybe actually use your stuff, is actually amazing. And the good thing is, so if you see, it is made for people who actually cannot code. the person is trying to say that you can do anything, you don't necessarily have to code, right? The good thing that you guys have is that we are in a technological institute, and it's like the best technical institute in the countries, right? So you have so many opportunities, not just Technovation. The technical council, I mean, there are a lot of events that you can do to learn stuff. If you have an idea, you don't know how exactly to build that, there will be some event happening there, or there will be some senior who has worked on something similar. So that's a good thing. And it might not be prudent if you don't leverage that in your 4 years. I'm guessing most of you are in second year, and you have too much time now that even if you start yes tomorrow, and even if you take like very small amount of time every day, just like 2 or 3 hours, let's say 5 hours a week, that's not much, right? 5 hours a week, even if you take that much amount of time for, let's say, the next one semester, you will make a lot of progress over the semester, and that will give you enough confidence that you have to continue then later. One other thing is that the one problem that I felt always when starting any project, I used to have this thing that I won't pick up ideas that's not going to change the world. That's like a very stupid thing, right? And a lot of people I feel do that the idea should be like huge. It should it should solve like the energy problem or like a very big social problem. If it does, I think it's great. But at your age, at our age, when we are in college, I don't think so it's very necessary. And I think there's a very famous Elon Musk, not a quote, but I think there's a conversation happening where someone asked him what he would have built if he was 22 today, and he said you don't have to come up with a idea that's like it's the next big thing. Even if you come up with something very small, something like, let's say, a photo sharing app, that adds like a very small amount of value in a lot of lives, then that is also great. And you should always think about that. I think a lot of people hold back just because they feel their idea is not going to be like the next big thing, or a lot of people are actually going to use that. It does not matter if, let's say, your wingmates, just your wingmates, if they also value from it, it's something worth attempting at your age. And even if you're in fifth year, it would have made sense. You are in second year, so definitely if you have an idea that can actually add even a small value to people's life, then it's worth doing, I feel. One other thing is, so these are 2 points that I mentioned, right? I'm just trying to convince you to actually work on something for the next semester and make a product of your own. Does not have to be like does not have to be a product that makes you a lot of money or actually goes in the market. Just for building sake, you build that. The third point is, I feel you guys must have already taken a lot of responsibilities, right? Taking a lot of courses and maybe PORs and some other projects. And that is kind of our culture has been for the past couple of years, that we don't see a lot of people who are doing entrepreneurship or engineering, their own self projects or any side project or hobby projects, right? Because of which the culture is that you have, if in order to be successful, you have to do those things. But I feel if you actually do your side projects or the hobby projects, and if they make even a little success, other than the 2 advantages that I said, it will actually make you a lot. It will actually bring you a lot of joy. Even if in terms of resume, or in terms of, let's say, if you want to apply to a job or, let's say, higher education, I think these points stand out more than anything else that anyone, because everyone else is doing the same thing, right? At least a series of things. These things definitely stand out in your future life. So it's like a win-win situation. Even if you're, let's say, compromising on something which everyone else is doing, and if you're taking time for these activities, even if it is making a small amount of success, it does not have to be like let's say, an app that 10,000 people install. Even if it is an app, let's say 500 people installed, they use for like 1 week, and then let's say it didn't work well, that also is a good thing. Especially in second year, it's like a great thing, in fact. So these are the 3 points. I hope this like at least give you some perspective and convinces you to work on something of your own going forward. Now I think I'll just speak about 3 of my projects. I'm hoping they will give you some, at least it will tell you how I came up with these ideas, and then maybe can inspire you to come up with your own ideas. Jay, if you can go to the next slide. Right, so this is not the history of Technovation, I think. So this was so I don't know if you know this person. He's Pranav Mistry. He is also an IIT Bombay alum. He later went to MIT in the MIT Media Lab, and he's famous for the Sixth Sense technology. He has a very famous TED talk on YouTube, and we have been showing this video to all the ITC in all the ITC events for like very long now. So in my first year, during my ITSP, this is the project I worked on, which is the sixth sense technology, the thing that you can see on his chest in one of the images, right? So the plan basically was that I'll have like color tapes on my fingers, and using the camera of my laptop, I'll be able to control my laptop. And it was completely, so there was nothing original in the idea. I was very curious with how this person did. And that's my first point, which is your idea, it's not necessary at this point has to be completely novel. Even if you're doing something that is you are very fascinated about, or you're curious how it works, then it's fine at this point. And this is what I did for ITSP. Even so, for example, in our case, our ITSP was rejected. I mean, we didn't get the accommodation for ITSP, but I still came back and worked on with my friends. And we were able to, like, it was obviously not as good as the Sixth Sense actual technology, but it was like a small product that helped us learn a lot of things. I had no idea what Python was. During the project, I learned Python on my own. I learned Googling on my own, which surprisingly is a great skill. I learned basics of image processing. So these kind of things, just because I was curious about how this person did something amazing during his PhD, I could learn because of that. So one set of places you can derive ideas from, just random YouTube videos, anything cool that you see on YouTube, you can try to implement that again if you're just curious how that works. One other benefit of that is, let's say if you actually end up implementing, you might be able to come up with something related to that. You might be able to improve that a little bit. And that is a great success, by the way. If you're able to improve an existing technology a little bit, that's progress. So you can start with just implementing someone else's idea and then maybe push that forward by after you have got hold of what that idea is. Next slide. Jay, can you move to the next? Yeah. So the second idea is, this is also not reason behind the initiative. So basically, the second set of ideas can be mixing interest. So for example, I am personally interested in stand-up comedy in general, stand-up comedy and humor in general. So what I did, so what happened is I knew I was going to work in natural language processing as part of a master's thesis. So I took this course called CS 626, which is speech and NLP and something like that, NLP course, basically introductory NLP course. And when we were supposed to come up with the idea for the course project, I could see like a parallel between stand-up comedy and natural language processing, because stand-up comedy is also like a permutation of words that make people laugh, and NLP is basically study of words, right? So then we decided to come up with this idea that we'll take stand-up comedy data and we'll apply NLP techniques to see what makes something funny or not. So we started with that project, and the good thing is, so I've been working for a very long time on this project. It actually got recently got accepted also in a conference, and it took a lot of time. But the best part about this project, I felt, is that whenever I was working on it, I was genuinely very happy. Even if we were stuck in a challenge, I was still very interested, because it was working on something I was actually very interested in. I was actually very curious about what actually makes something funny, what kind of permutation combination makes something funny. If we, let's say, have more verbs in a sentence, we have more names in a sentence, so will that make something funny? So these kind of questions, if you're curious about, you're actually going to enjoy the process. And this is also, like, in a way, like a new initiative, new project. Something like this hasn't happened, so it also give us the joy of building something. We are still halfway the journey in some sense, but if we're able to build it, it's going to be very interesting thing that people can actually see. It's not something, again, it's like a very silly project in some sense, that it's not going to change the world, but it's like fun. I enjoy working on this. So similarly, let's say if you're interested in something, if you're interested in, let's say, table tennis, so you can see what kind of technology is there that can help table tennis players, or let's say change table tennis technology in some sense. Or if you're interested in, let's say, dance music, I know a lot of people who are interested in music and end up doing music technology. There's in fact like a master's course in Georgia Tech University, specifically for music technology. They have like an excellent research group for music technology, and a lot of people who have been a part of music club at IIT Bombay have like done research projects under, I know one of the profs in elect department who works on this area. So similarly, you can mix up your interest, see other things that you're interested in, and mix technology with it to make something. Next slide. So these are two aspects that I mentioned, right? One is you're making your interest, and the first one was you don't have to come up with a novel idea. You can just implement something that you're curious about. The third one is finding problems. There are too many problems in the world, and a lot of them can actually, if you solve them, it's not very difficult to solve them. If you see any problem, for example, Zomato, very simple problem, you want to order food, there is no food available. Facebook, if you know the story, very simple problem. So just that if you're looking for problems around you, I think you will find a lot of them. Now, how do you, it's like a different story of how do you validate if it's a good problem. People actually are facing the problem, your solution is actually good. But in general, I don't think so. It is very difficult to find problems. If you're looking, you will find problems. And so this is the third project that we're currently working on. It's basically, so because we were working in NLP, we realized that when you go on a website, you never read the terms and conditions, right? You just click on I agree. For example, if you see this pop-up, even if you want to click on even if you want to read the terms of condition, you cannot, because you have to click on view terms. Then you will get a very big document that even if you try to, you won't understand, and you definitely do not have the time or energy to understand that. So these things are made in a way that's very difficult naturally for you to just actually understand what is happening. So so this was a problem that I could see is happening. And because I was working in NLP, I thought NLP is this only, right? You have a lot of words and you can make a summary out of it, or you can just find what is the exact meaning of it. So that is what we're working on. And I have just included picture of Harvey. If you guys know what Suits is, it's like a TV series in which Harvey is a lawyer, and this is like a law related project. So we included that. So this is the project that once you come across a website which wherever there is a terms of condition, you will get a summary of that explaining what that terms of condition mean, what you're signing up for. So you are more careful of, you choose more deliberately. You don't just click on I agree because you have to, there is no other choice. So similarly, you can look around problems, and ITSP, for example, there are so many interesting projects that come every year. And even so, there are a lot of projects that are just implementation of something that already exists, but there are at least 10 to 15 projects every year that can actually be taken to market, that can actually be used by people. Last year, I remember someone pitched an idea of a small social networking app for just college students, which actually is a very cool idea. It's not very difficult to implement. You already have the user group that can test it. You can send it, give it to your friends. They will test you, tell you what the product is. And that brings me to the last point, which is you should keep on trying the thing that I mentioned, right? Validating your idea. The best way to validate the idea, considering that you're all engineers, you're all people in the technical institute, is to build a very small prototype. You don't have to build the final product. You just build the prototype. You show it to a small group of people, 10 to 15, 20, 30 people. You take their feedback on how they like the product, what is the problems, how you can improve it. And then you keep on iterating. Instead of thinking, okay, I am planning for next 1 year, I will build the product and then give it to everyone. There is a famous quote by Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn's founder, which is, if you're not mortally embarrassed by the first version you ship for your first prototype, you ship too late, which basically means that the first version that you're going to ship will be something that you're not very proud of, but that is okay. You have to have a machine gun approach, that you're trying multiple things to just quickly try your idea. If it gives you some kind of success, if it gives you the feedback that people are actually liking this, then it's worth attempting that. If it does not, you will get the feedback very soon, so you won't waste a lot of time there. But it's worth making that prototype thing, and I think Technovation is a great place for that. You get a chance to, you get all the resources you need to build your prototype, and then if it works, you will figure it out, and then accordingly you can scale it as and when required. And then for that also you have the guidance on how to do that. Cool. So this is it from my side. This is not different between mindset required for ITSP and Technovation again. This is so if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I think we can go to the next speaker.
Thanks a lot, Anirudh, for your time, and I really like these ideas will benefit everyone a lot. Thanks a lot. So next speaker is Adesh. He was past TL manager, and he'll say a bit about COVID projects and give us a few insight on this.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So hi everyone. How is everyone doing? I hope you guys are all fine. So I'll just get right into it. I'll tell you some basics that I learned as a TL manager and how projects work. So in particular, first thing that I'd like to talk about is physical projects. So things where you have to construct, not just have a software-based project. So I can tell you this for a fact, and this is through experience, there is definitely no strict requirement for a physical workspace to make these projects possible. Of course, I mean, if you have a makerspace like TL present around your locality, it's great. But you can have similar facilities by just converting your usual desk space, your dinner table at home, into a place where you build and craft things. So you need just basic tools. Like if you want a saw, you can just buy it. It's very cheap. If you want to work on plywood, again, that's very cheap. The first step to solving a problem is to build a rudimentary solution to it. It's not necessary that you have to 3D print something so complicated that you need TM. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I can definitely tell you this. There are a lot of maker spaces around wherever you stay. They're coming up in a lot of metropolitan areas. So yeah, I think you should have a look at that too if you want to focus your problems around a physical field of work. Okay, then I can talk to you about two programs that TL ran. So one is COVID projects. Both of these had fundamentally a different philosophy to them. So even though both were focused around COVID, so let's talk about COVID projects. This is one, and then there was 2.0. They were focused more around developing ideas from ideation. So for COVID projects, we provided the ideas as a TL team. We identified what were the issues that were happening in society. So this was back in around April 2020. So we identified, oh, social distancing is an issue, sanitization is an issue. So we took out these problems and we devised solutions to them. And we provided a simple manual for people to go through and construct these things at home. The focus was on the idea and not on cost as a primary factor. So you can optimize cost later. Then again, like I said, they did not have a physical workspace. So we shipped all of the items to their houses and they built it at home. So it's very easy. You'll find hardware stores around. It's okay. Like you just need to be, and a lot of them were completed. We had around 20 projects that came through from that one program. So yeah, what I mean to say is that physical workspace is not a restriction. Okay, then another part is design to disrupt. This was again focused around COVID, but as I was saying, this started off not as a project program. It's more of a design methodology program. So the core focus of this is to help you understand how to identify need statements. So need statements is what brings about projects. So the way you find out a need statement is actually through deep surveys. So this can be through interviewing the stakeholders, and stakeholders in these terms is people you're going to sell the product to, people who you are going to ultimately use it. You don't know what is it. You don't have an idea in mind, but you go to them, you start talking to them, and you get to know what their problems are. So that's the first step. And this can be done through observations too. So you see an elderly person, like maybe your neighbor or someone, you just talk to them. You know that they're suffering from a chronic disease, for example, and you talk to them about what solutions don't exist in their lives and what are the problems that they are facing at that stage. So yeah, so this is what it means to have like unmet needs, and you find an unmet need and then you start to build a solution around it. This focused on, I can tell you what the program focused on. It's unmet needs for the underserved communities in India due to COVID, due to the pandemic. So there were two basic startup ideas that came about. One was a way to counteract the malnourishment amongst migrant workers and underserved communities. So you see, first they identified, oh, like migrant workers are the field of area that we want to look at. So they spoke to at least 20 to 30 different migrant workers through some of their contacts, and they got to know, oh, like malnourishment is an issue, is the prevailing issue. Then they did surveys and they spoke to a lot of people, and this is how they came about with their solution. Another is through a neighbor, like another group they had a neighbor, like one of them had a neighbor who had some cardiovascular issues, and through that they formulated the broad area, and then they came to the solution. So what's critical here is empathy building. I mean, this is a lot different from what Nambi Lakshmi and Anirudh Mittal said, but yeah, like this, you don't have an idea in mind and you go to finding a need that is prevailing in the society. So you use your empathy, you try to put yourself in their shoes, and you try to identify what is happening. Now, look, I mean, these were, of course, very complicated projects, and they, of course, are very complicated solutions. But at your stage, you are just second year students. You can go to your friend. You don't have to go to someone where you don't think you can find a solution. You understand, right? Like scale what you can do according to your expertise. So yeah, this is what I had to say. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me now. I'll still be available later. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Adesh, and hope everyone gets to understand what exactly need and all those things are. And second, the next speaker is Pawan, and he'll tell a bit about his own ideas and how he converted it into a startup. So,
yeah, Jay, I would be taking up before Pawan. Sorry for the like sudden thing, but I'm pretty sure Pawan has a lot of good things, so I'll just try to wrap up before him. Okay, so let me just share the screen as something that I'd like to show all of you guys. And until I share the screen, let me just introduce myself. I'm Aman Maleka. I've been involved with the Institute Technical Council since the last 3 years or so, and I've also been the Institute Aero Modeling Secretary. And yeah, so I'll just move on to the slide. Yeah. So can you guys see the slide?
Oh yeah, it's
yeah, sure. So hello everyone. Good to have all of you here. I'm Aman Maleka. I'm here to talk about something that's slightly different from what the previous speakers have talked about, and it's just about the convergence of hobby and your professional industry work, or let's just say the convergence of hobby and what you would do as a profession, or what you would do to contribute to the community, right? So that's it, and I'll just give you a small example, and I like to do it in my own style. So this is basically about FPV freestyle or just drones in general. So if you have ever thought about the revolution that has come into place since the last decade in this industry, that has been enormous, and that has been just by the fact that you just had to mount a camera on a drone. The idea was pretty much simple, right? Anyone could have done that, but see the amount of difference that it could bring. I mean, it wasn't an idea that was like needed for a breakthrough in society or something like that, but sometimes you just need to be crazy enough to do things. So I think one of the inspirations for getting some products that are well beyond imagination of any human is just to be crazy enough to think that such a thing can exist. So drones was one of the things. You had cameras in the beginning, then since the last, I think last 5 or 6 years, we have had prominently FPV drones. FPV is basically first person view, wherein you have the camera feed coming into your direct FPV goggles. Okay, so you just fly in first person, you don't see the drone. The amount of change that it has brought into the kind of cinematic shots that you see these days has been significant, and probably we don't notice it that significantly because it has become a part of our lives and deeply engraved in it. But all the good shots and all the relevant research work as well has been all made possible because of one simple addition to drones. And I mean, again, that's one of the things wherein we again can point out the fact that you don't need to be extraordinary to make a difference in society. You just need to have that courage to kind of think outside the box and be courageous enough to come out with good ideas. So that being said, I just wanted to slightly incline this to my personal experience over the few years, and how if you are interested in something, how that can turn into something that you could probably use for the benefit of the community, or probably for doing something that could bring out some value, right? So some additional information on this drone. This is basically a 5-inch drone, but again, I've been testing out this drone as a module for a industry giant which wants to test their flight controller on it. So they've just given their flight controller, but the rest of the hardware and the rest of the testing algorithms that we'll be doing is probably, yeah, it's done by me, right? So I'll just talk about the basics. If you have a hobby, if you have an interest in something, and if you want to use that thing to leverage and to use it as a potential skill to basically bring a change, right? So how do you go about it? Because I think in most of the projects in Technovation itself, probably people start with the fact that they just want to make a difference. But what if you want to start with something that you like first, and then you want to probably bring something different out of it? So you get two things in one shot. So yeah, so how do you deal with this? What exactly is uh, hobby playing a role in the industry aspect? So I'll probably say that you need to consider turning your hobby into a side gig first. So what is a side gig? It's basically something that can support your hobby as well as your interests at the same time, wherein you're pursuing your final destination, the final goal of your life. So it's important to start small and then probably use it as a skipping stone, and because that can help you know the differences between what you like in that domain and what you don't like. What kind of difference would you like to bring in that particular thing, and uh, how the smallest of the developments over the years affects the entire world and the industry. So one of the things here that I would like to point out is having some context into what you're doing. This is something that people usually do after they decide their idea, after they finally figure out that, okay, probably this is something we want to do. But having some knowledge, prior knowledge beforehand, can help you get out of that loop quite, you know, at a quite a significant pace as compared to the earlier situations. So yeah, that just basically sets a strong background and a context so that you could kind of figure out what exactly is the next big thing, right? So then, of course, I think if you are now deeply and deeply involved with the technology, as well as deeply involved with your ideas and your thoughts, then you probably need to kind of make connections and know the stakeholders of the industry. You need to know who are the important people, including something as simple as the people selling the things that are used by you for building that technology, as well as people who control the rules and regulations for whatever you build. So all of these people are the stakeholders in the industry, and you need to be very thorough with what you are exactly dealing into. So because of that, I think you need to make yourself visible enough, and you need to kind of discuss your ideas with like-minded people, and that is probably the reason why all of us are here, all the 6 of us. So us being people who have worked on projects, as well as we are here to display some of our work as well. So probably that could help you get some insights into into your own mind about what exactly is it that you want to bring out of it, and what difference do you want to make. And yeah, on a slightly different note, I would like to say that you need to be modest as well about your ideas, because it is quite possible that other people can also have that idea, but there is one slight difference there, that probably everyone has the capacity to come up with an awesome idea, but probably very few of them will stick through the process of execution. So I am pretty much sure that this is something that you will have experience, but you probably don't give enough importance to it. But yeah, I mean, all of the big ideas in the world as of now that you're seeing being executed are great because of the people who dared enough to kind of stick through the process of execution. They were resilient through the entire process. So probably that is one of the things that you need to consider. Just don't be afraid of expressing your ideas and putting it out in front of people and defending them as and when required. So yeah, third one is specifically slightly into learning a few more things, and I think this is one of the very important things at this age, because probably now we are self-sufficient and self-capable of developing new things and better technology. But that is only possible when you know what kind of things sustain. And although, as Anirudh said, it need not sustain over a period of time at this age, but it's always good to know how the entire population, reacts and how it varies dynamically with your product, because you have an idea, and when that idea turns into a product, it has the capacity to influence a lot of people. So yeah, so what kind of research? So as we do in ITSP as well, we just directly define the problem or the opportunity, and then we state our objectives. What exactly do we want to get out of this, right? So then comes the part where all of us are probably good at. We develop the research design and then we meet the objectives, but that is not sufficient enough. I mean, the first two stages is probably the thing where ITSP or something like all the normal tech projects work. Okay, but you need to collect the relevant information to your objectives. You need to know how your objectives are going to stand in front of the population. How is it going to affect them? And then probably you need to compile all of this. You need to figure out how can you put this across in front of people, because people being people, they won't know all the technical things that you have in your head. So you need to know how to present your research and your product properly, and then again follow up with everyone in the industry. And as all of us know, the dynamics of the market keep changing. So probably you need to enter this loop, and then probably you never get out of it, but it's worth it. So yeah, so this is one of the brief introductions to market research. But what I wanted to do by saying all of this is just motivate you slightly towards knowing how your product can affect the society as well as the population, and how the population can influence your product. So the other inverse is also very much possible, because for people being people, and as the nature of market exists, people can influence a major part of how your actual product is going to be developed. And probably that is one of the parts where the R&D is not exactly self-sufficient as of now from what we do, because for us, we just define it based on our research about people. But when you develop the actual product, and when people start saying it, the dynamics there could be different. So yeah, finally, I would say you just need to keep a plan for where you're heading to, because you basically need to know how and when you would do things, because otherwise you would be lost among the thousands of other people who have an idea and then who start out, but probably they are just lost somewhere in between. So first important term, clarity. Having an idea about what exactly is it that you want to do, and this clarity is not just something that you need to have in your head, but this clarity is something that should come out of of your thoughts as well as of your presentations and how you put it across to people. So that will basically give you a better understanding of your own idea, as well as it will have a better convincing impact. So what about success? Usually at this level, you don't need to worry much about success, but you having a plan about things and you planning out things can probably guarantee some amount of success and some amount of lead to you. And it definitely ensures that you are putting in organized effort as compared to going haywire into things. So accuracy is the key here, smart work. So yeah, again, I would say try to plan things out properly. And this is the final step, and probably investment is not the key word here, but what we need here is that we need to get noticed by the people who can leverage this product, and who can probably give us a better stage to develop more, into slightly more researched and developed product. So that is somewhere probably we need to head out to. So this is something slightly different from probably what we do on the technical aspect, because I think we are quite good at the technical aspect, but we often tend to overlook the next step of it. So that was it from my side. I just wanted to bring out a different perspective to it. Although I have had quite some amount of technical work to share with you, but I think this is something that I could kind of share with my 10 or 15 minutes that I was given. So I think if you have any questions, you can probably put it in chat, and yeah, that's all from me. Pawan, you can take over. Sure, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Aman. What do you, Pawan?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last 1 hour, actually, I learned a lot from all the 4 speakers. I particularly like Aman, your slides, like they are really great in the design aspect. So let me get started. So hi, I am a 4th year undergraduate student from the Department of Metallurgy and Material Science, and I'm doing an interdisciplinary dual degree in electrical engineering. And throughout my journey of last 3 years, I was involved in a lot of technical activities in the institute. I have been the convener at ERC. I have been the design coordinator at Mood Indigo. I also received last year the Institute Technical Color Award. And I was also a manager and control subsystem head at UMIC last year. I was also the part of Exofly Tech team. I have been the CR of my department since last 3 years, and for the coming year, I am the ISMP mentor. Basically, why I'm telling you all these things is because like I have tried all sorts of different things in the institute, and made a lot of mistakes in my journey, and also learned a lot of things from these mistakes. And I think like I feel very grateful to get this opportunity to pass on this understanding, to pass on this knowledge to you guys. So basically, I'll be covering 2 like topics broadly. Like firstly, how exactly not to ideate, and also some controversial aspects about like job, entrepreneurship, or related things. Okay, so let me first share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like throughout my slides, I'll be making a lot of controversial statements. So please listen to them carefully and only accept them like after giving it a thought. Okay. So many a times you are told that like uh, like we have been engraved that jack of all trades, master of none is a like bad thing to have. Like you should specialize, you should focus, like you should do things, like you should do one thing properly, you should specialize in one particular field. But it turns out that this is not actually a good thing to do. Like rather, it is important to have at least a brief understanding of many different domains, and so that you can coordinate well with other subsystems of your team and understand their requirements and shape your deliverables accordingly, so that you can build analogies that can like help solve complex problems that require interdisciplinary approach, and that can basically help you connect the dots better, as Steve Jobs says. So like it is important to diversify rather specialize. rather than specialized. Okay. Then most of the ideation happens before the ideation meet. So kind of like we are going into the ideation discussion as of now. Okay. So many a times during the ideation part, like you would have it would have happened with you that okay, like you are thinking of solving a problem and idea stuck in your mind, like somewhere in some video or some exhibition you have seen some particular mechanism or seen some particular uh, idea, and that can be slightly modified to solve a different problem altogether. So all those is also a part of ideation. So it is very important to be very observant, very thoughtful, and curious throughout your life. So you have like a very diverse and open-minded approach towards solving the problems. And it is also important to have a thorough literature review for solving any problem that like that any problem you're solving. Because by literature review meaning like basically reading all or relevant research papers in that particular field. So what happens by literature review is like you get to know what are the like breakthrough technologies that already exist in the world, so that you don't spend your time and energy in reinventing the wheel. Like you get to know what already exists so that you can think about how can you make it better, or like what you don't have to waste your time on. Okay. So for any particular ideation, any particular brainstorming, it is very important that you get to know what all technologies already exist. Literature review is very important before ideation. Then think on paper. It is very important to bring your team on the same page, because like everybody should have clarity of what is going on, and it also clears your mind, and so you have more room in your mind for newer ideas if you write down things on paper. And it is important from documentation aspect as well. Like these images are from my ITSP as well as UMIC IRC ideations. So whenever I see them, like I exactly remember what I was thinking when I was making these scribbles and all. Okay. Then yeah, it need not be just on paper. Like you can have it on Google Jamboard, MS Teams, even in a virtual manner. So this was the part of ideation for our the International Aerial Robotics competition when I was the part of UNIC, and we were declared as the world champions for our solution, our entry. So next. So yeah, like you don't have to have very complicated solutions for complex problems. Indeed, complex problems can have simple solutions. Sometime later, you can Google what tea kettle principle is. Basically, it is like reducing a bigger problem to something that is already solved. Okay. Then mindset plays a very important role in all of it. I hope you know who this guy is. Yeah. So in my first year now, like I used to work alone, meaning like any competitions, any projects that I used to participate, I used to do it alone, because I didn't appreciate the importance of having a team. Like I used to think that okay, I'm doing it alone, so I have complete power of when to work, how much to work, or like everything was under my control basically. But it turned out that okay, like as the quote also says that okay, alone I may have won few competitions, but if you want to achieve something very great, very big, very significant, then you can't do it alone. Like you need to have teams, because no matter what, like there is always a bias in your thinking, and a diversified team, like a team with many different experience and skill sets, can counter that particular bias. And you can like I like really what you can say appreciated like how a good team can create wonders. Like at the time of our like when I was a part of UMIC, when we were declared as the world champions in the international aerial robotics competition. So it is important to have a very good team, and also like don't make a team like just because they are your friends or just because you know them. Okay, because like you want them to work, right? And you should identify the potential from every team member and also make them work up to it. Okay, then documentation indeed is very important. Everybody should know like what Git is and how it works, and you should be able to use it. Also, Notion or maybe OneNote or maybe even Google Docs is a good tool to document. Like just take screenshot, like write down whatever you think, write down your observation, or maybe like what could be the possible solutions, etc. And yeah, like because we don't want to keep remembering things in your mind, like because we want to use our minds as processors, not hard drives for storing our information. So let the tools like Notion and Google Docs do the documentation work, the memorization work, and free your mind for better and newer ideas. Then another common problem that I have seen at the time of ideations is that, like, suppose 4 people are ideating on a mechanism, then what usually happens is like one person suggests a particular mechanism and they stick to it. Like they feel that, okay, their idea should get passed on, their idea should get selected. They try to defend their idea. They get into that mode that like, okay, my idea is the best, etc. Like everybody else is wrong, or maybe theirs may be better, but mine is the best, etc. etc. So this mentality needs to be eliminated completely, because we need to be open-minded, because we are collectively working on a thing and we want to make it better overall, right? So it doesn't matter whose idea it is, we just want the idea to be better. Okay, so try not to get obsessed with your idea. Like be proud of your idea, but at the same time have that acceptance mode that, okay, if like everybody makes mistakes, so like even your idea can have mistakes, or maybe if not mistakes, somebody else's idea can be even better, more efficient. So have that sort of acceptance mentality in your mind. Then yeah, so that was about ideation. Now, like throughout like my initial life, like I have, like right now I'm the co-founder of 2 startups actually, and even in the entrepreneurship domain, like I have done a lot of things, a lot of mistakes, and some of the most important learnings from those mistakes are written here. Okay, firstly, as Anirudh also mentioned, the world is full of problems, and wherever there is a problem, you like there is an opportunity. Okay, but like at the same time, it is also important that you try to analyze the scale of that particular opportunity, try to analyze the impact of that particular opportunity, and try to validate if that problem actually exists. And here is where customer discovery, market research, or competition analysis come into play, because there might be a problem according to you, but according to the actual end user, it is not a problem at all. So you should try to empathize with those customers, like the end users, and try to understand that what exactly is the problem. Like I think you would have heard this statement before from Henry Ford. Like if you ask people what they wanted, like they would have demanded for faster horses. So this was a time when there were no cars, and if you ask people what they exactly wanted, they would have demanded for faster horses instead of cars. So it is important to empathize and try to understand the problem in their own shoes. Like you just can't ask them that, okay, what are your problems? What would be the solution to that problem? Most of the times people themselves are not aware of that. Okay. Now suppose you have identified a problem, but the thing is, like, the problem exists, but the problem is very small, like on a very small scale, like very specific target segment has that particular problem, even that is not useful because that won't generate you enough revenue. So it is important that you analyze the scale of that particular problem, the scale of that particular market. And here is where market research comes into play. And suppose your problem is valid, your market impact is also big, but there are a lot of other competitors who are like solving the same problem or like having the same solution as you have, like Zomato and Swiggy or Ola and Uber. So even that needs to be thought of, like what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, like how can you outperform them, like how much market can you capture despite them, or like even is there a need to reinvent the wheel. So things like that. Another very common statement that I hear people saying that entrepreneurship is not all about doing, like it's all about practical knowledge, like what you will learn from courses, like why are you reading books. But like people say that if you want to learn swimming, jump into the water. Is it like really, like seriously, like if you jump into the water, you'll definitely drown if you don't know swimming, right? So here comes the importance of courses. Like we have a lot of entrepreneurship related courses. We have a minor in our institute. So it's important to do these courses because they give you a direction, like by learning from those courses or from learning from others' mistakes, like you get to know what exactly needs to be done or what exactly needs not to be done. Okay. So it will save you basically a lot of time and energy and efforts if you like do it in a systematic manner. Okay. And as I also mentioned earlier, that don't don't have a team of just because they are your friends or just because you know them. Because having a common co-founder vision is very much important. Like because there will be a lot of ups and downs in your like throughout your journey. Like I myself haven't done my third year internship because I was working on this particular startup, and I have converted into a dual degree just because I can get some more time to work on this particular startup. So that was about this. Now comes the most controversial part. Okay. So like I have like recently, like everybody else would have also seen like people saying like intern cracks, PPO lag gaya, ab andha paisa, वगैरह वगैरह, etc. So like seriously, like are you like meaning like is job really andha paisa or entrepreneurship is andha paisa? And also like what is it ending into? Like even like I have some friends who are from VITs, NITs, and like even they are ending up into Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs or like Texas Instruments. Like even students from IIT are ending into that. Like what is the difference then? Like just a matter of few lakhs per year. Like does it really matter? Like basically, I'm not against internships or like PORs. Like recently, what people are doing is they are taking a POR just for like a point on resume. Like POR's original definition was position of responsibility, but people have made it point on resume, and they are conducting events. They are like taking up the PORs just because some senior have said that okay, MICG ban jao, consulting mein job lag jayegi, andha paisa hoga, etc. etc. But like this is very wrong actually. Like this shouldn't be done. And again, like what see basically you are in IIT, so you have a very good problem solving mindset. You have a mindset of an engineer. Understand the difference between a technician and an engineer. And still if you are ending up like in that same rat race as other people are doing, then you're doing like very wrong. Like you're not making the full use of your potential at all. So like basically I'm trying to say that take a pause and think of what you are doing and why you are doing it. And because each one of you have a choice right now, if you still want to go into that particular rat race, or like you want to create something of your own. And IIT has a lot of opportunities. Like even Technovation is one of the best opportunities in this particular field. That like you have your own idea, they will provide you funding. You just have to execute it, and that can potentially lead into another unicorn or another $1 billion company. The only call is yours of you doing it or not doing it. And I believe that each one of you have that particular potential, and I don't want it to get wasted. So like do something for the society, do something for the country. Otherwise, like what is the use? Like you came to Earth and did some time pass and like went back, like just like other 7.5 billion people. So I know it may have been a little offensive, but just hold on for a moment and think about it. I really strongly believe that all of you have a very high potential. Just make use of it. Okay. So and see, even if you don't have an idea, like even if you don't have a good team, you can still work with other people. Like yeah, so these are the books that I would particularly suggest uh, for you to read. Most of you may like these books are not like commonly suggested because people are like more about like how to earn money, like rich dad poor dad. But these books are very important to set a mindset. Okay, then yeah. So I'll now talk about my project, like my ITSP project, and this also received the best ITSP award. So it started from a drawing on a paper, like this particular thing. But at that time, we didn't knew exactly how it has to be done or how many motors or what exactly algorithm, etc. We just had a dedication, just like Nambi Lakshmi said, that we wanted to do something. So basically, we talked to many seniors, we talked to many professors also, like how exactly should we proceed with this. We did a lot of Googling and slowly, step by step, we made this uh, particular thing. So see, apart from like, see, even at that time, I had this particular mentality that we'll be receiving almost 20,000 rupees for this particular project directly from the institute. We also have that idea. Then why are we not doing this? If this can turn into a next $1 billion company. So even after the ITSP project, even after receiving the best ITSP award, we didn't stop actually. Although my other teammates dismantled, but I formed a new team again and started to revive this thing and made a large scale version of it with even better clarity of like even with the experience of customer discovery, market research, and uh, competition analysis, we got to know exactly what are the pain points of the farmers, and we have we are building this particular system of robots that will be performing all the operations in the farms, right from sowing till harvesting. At the same time, like it will be providing actionable insights to the farmers of this is what exactly needs to be done in your farm, and also some other things we can talk about it sometime later. Like it would be a very big discussion. But the point being, like if you are not adding value to the uh, society, if you're not adding value to the world, then like there is no difference between you and other 7.5 billion people. Like people will not remember you just because you were an IIT or just because you received a job in some big consulting firm, right? People will remember you by the impact that you create. So think about it. And like we are also, see, if you want to work with us, like you can contact me. We can also think of giving some projects to you. Okay. If you don't have an idea of the role. So uh, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Thanks a lot, Pavan. I mean, the insights that you gave on team formation, leadership, and all those things, they will really come in handy to all the everyone later stages also. So thanks a lot for the info. So next we have Shubham Agrawal. He will again talk a bit about his project. So over to you, Shubham.
Thanks, Jay. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're good.
Uh, oh, that's nice. So, Pawan, it was really nice. Matlab, the thing is like, sorry, I couldn't make a very nice PPT because it was a last minute thing that I was able to discover that yeah, I'll be able to join. But I'm glad that yeah, the other professor didn't have something urgent and I could join you guys. And sitting in this presentation for the last 1 hour, I really liked all the ideas. I mean, like I have been with all these guys who came here for a long time, but some of the insights comes out only in such sessions, not always. So, but yeah, let's just go through it. Um, so I would be again like having heard Pawan, I guess some of the points would be repetitive. So as he told that, so starting with my journey, it's like my journey with tech started with more of getting involved in robotic competitions. It was a lot of competitions in teams, various somewhere at institute level and some outside the institute. But yeah, the important takeaways from all the competitions that I did was that keep documenting your work, and rightly as like Pawan was stating out, like you just need to scribble something, and as he showed his Jamboard, here's his mine. I like there would just be scribbling. There would be n number of documents that you'll just see untitled jam, and it just helps you ideate on things. And these are a nice platform wherein all this gets saved and you can refer them back whenever you need. So keep scribbling, keep writing, and keep documenting the same thing. Another doc that I would like to show you is this. This is like a team of 7 members doing certain things. So everything like if there's any meet we think of A, we just write it here. So that's a very important thing that you just keep documenting your work, and that's the key to uh, like any project you do, so that you don't end up repeating your previous mistake. And next would be that what I have observed, at least in my experience, is that there is certain resistance to from where do we start. Like you take up any project, supposing it's I'm talking with respect to mechanical CADing, then what happens is that you have certain design in mind, but you just keep pondering over for 1 hour that where should I start from. So that 1 hour which you waste is not worth it. So what I have learned from my knowledge, from my mistake, whether it be coding, whether it be CADing or some simulation, you need to start. So start from the very basic thing that you believe that you'll be able to do. The very easiest thing could be the starting moment. It could be just print hello world. From there on, you'll be able to build your entire code, but you need to write that line print hello world. So you need to come up like overcome your resistance to that. Then another yeah uh, this is a highlight, say like I have realized in my experience so far is that as again Pawan rightly mentioned that great projects comes up when you're doing great ideas, and great ideas turn into billion-dollar ideas when you do it in teams. So a team of member, when you're working together, make sure that you do meet at least once a week. It might be that this was the heaviest week for the entire team academically, and they couldn't work on anything. But just meet, say hello, hi, and just disconnect the meet. Doesn't matter, but you should meet. This develops a habit of meeting weekly, which keeps your progress on track. Otherwise, what happens is that if there is no meeting which is going to be scheduled, then it might happen that you just end up procrastinating and delaying your schedule altogether. So meeting with members regularly is very important. The next would be that in any discussion which goes on a problem statement, uh, it could be anything. Like it could be the idea. I guess like Pawan would also have gone through this. Like when he's discussing with his team members on his startup idea, it could be that you'll get just stuck in a discussion loop wherein member A says A, B says B, C says A, and then again it goes in a loop. It just keeps iterating and you end up wasting time. So whenever you realize that you're in a loop, you need to stop and think that yeah, we are stuck in a loop of discussion. So let's just go get back to some implementation and see the results instead of just keep discussing the same. Because you might think that implementing two different things might take up a lot of time, but remember that getting stuck in that loop would take you much more time, and something which won't give you any result out. So just try implementing things very simplistically. I mean, your some solution could be very naive. As in, if suppose in the world, in the global order, if I say a code can run in 1 second, you might design a solution which runs in 100 seconds in your first attempt. But that's good. That's okay. Don't just get stuck. Just start. From that 100 second, you might even get to 0.1 seconds. That's the thing. So, and what happens is like when you implement, the enthu of the team goes high. Just discussion and no result keeps the morale down in some way. I mean, you're not, you are excited about the problem statement, but if you do not see any implementation in a given span of time, then the enthusiasm goes down a bit. So start implementing. As you see result, a new set of ideas will come into your mind, and the enthusiasm will keep up. So that's my takeaway. The next stuff would be like, suppose in like the entire team altogether, if you have an idea that you're working on, then in any discussion it's the same n people who are discussing the idea. So you're not getting any input from outside. So it's always encouraged that whenever you are sitting with interested people of similar mindset who would be interested in your problem that you believe, then you should go and discuss the same with him or her. It might be that he or she is a stranger because, say, in IIT Bombay, you might come across a lot of PhD and MTech guys who are working on a similar problem. So you should consider discussing the same with these students, and it is really gonna help the way you think about the problem statement. They might just get you out of these discussion loops wherein you're stuck and you don't know what to do next. These were some of the takeaways from the n number of projects that I had done so far. Now, this is a point where, like Adesh was stating that, do you really need a workstation for you to work about? So I would say that answer is obviously no. And to that matter, my actual tech journey started in the pandemic when I was restricted within the four walls of my room. I mean, I didn't have access to the lab, but believe me, your laptop is your laptop has everything that you need to work on a project. Although, yeah, you can't like really have a mechanical system built, but that's, yeah, as you told, you can obviously set up a small workstation for you to work on the same. But to get started with any problem, you have n number of solutions to bring any simulation into action, to see the results of any design idea that you come up with. So every design idea could be tested with some algorithm or some software or some open source package. So just be open to all these resources available around you. Just look around. There are enough people around you. You're in ITB. There are going to be enough seniors to help you around in any such loops or any such discussion that you're stuck with anywhere where you think that, yeah, I need a I need some input on this so that I could work on so that I could just get out of whatever thing that I'm stuck in. There are enough people around you. Then it could be your batchmates, seniors, anyone. Then I did the same way. Well, I when I started my tech journey, the first people were my batchmates. These were the ones I knew because I knew that he's working on X, he's working on Y. So I could always approach them, take insights, and work on the same. Then the next were seniors and internet. So start using Google, uh, Stack Overflow, if you're a robotic guy, ROS Wiki, GitHubs, all these websites are really helpful in resolving your doubts. In that case, this was just about codes. If you're just thinking about some design ideas, then Google Scholar, it's a great website. I mean, like you need to start using these websites. Google Scholar is somewhere you can find all the research papers, and thank that again you're in ITB. So IT Bombay has subscribed to a lot of journals and research websites. So you have access to all these. Make sure that you get benefit from those. Otherwise, yeah, as Pawan was saying, what's the use of being in ITB when a friend who is in VIT gets the same sort of result as you? So make sure that you use the resources that have been provided to you for being in this institute. Yeah. So this was about that. Next is that, again, I guess Aman was talking about this, that he turned his hobby into the tech that he want to do. So it could be this could be the starting point for you to ideate on. I mean, your project idea could come up from here. I mean, say, as Aman works on drones, which are mostly aerial robotics, my interest lied more on robotics and ground robotics. I mean, ground boards, rigid links, and motions. So I took that when I had time in pandemic, when the institute was shut down suddenly after the midsem, and classes were not going on due to n reasons. I had ample of time which I could have wasted or I could have utilized very well. I'm thankful that I got to utilize that time to learn uh, all the tools necessary for me to work on my ideas further. So because, say, any problem that you're gonna solve would need a engineering solution to that, and that needs you to be able to develop a competent solution, a nice solution. You need to know the latest tools available to work on that idea. Tools which can simplify your task, tools which can help you build faster, reduce the number of iterations on the actual prototype, all this. So make sure that you use your time whenever you have to learn these tools and uh, similar. The next thing, like when Adesh mentioned about this 3D printing, it just like struck to my mind that this is the perfect example for all of you here. So what happens is that in today's world, 3D printing was the thing which most of the people were using for prototyping. Now, this was $1 billion idea which these robo guys came up with. I mean, like this is the kind of identification of the actual problem and giving service to the same. So they knew that 3D printing is the future. So what they introduced is 3D printing on their website. What happens is that you go to their website, you upload your model, and you upload whatever fill density quality you want, and they'll ship the material 3D printed to your home. I mean, this particular solution exists in our institute also. Tata Lab, which is there in our institute, does the same. Whenever you want to 3D print anything from them, there's a form that you need to fill. Whenever you just go, you fill that form, and what happens is that they give you a they just tell you that you'll get your part after these many days. You can go and collect it from their workshop. But what lagged is that they never thought it of as an entrepreneurship idea which could be scaled and made a business. And this is not just a business, this is like a help to the entire um, community of entrepreneurs. I mean, this was gonna help entrepreneurs prototype their solutions much faster. Now they don't have to work around with the existing thing. I mean, say, as Ades was saying, that you might just build a simple model with wood, which is feasible with your normal drill machines and exhaust that you can get at home. No, you're not restricted by that. This Robo, the solution that they have built, has uh, made it possible for every entrepreneurship to be able to try their ideas. So this is not just a business idea, but a great help also that I would count. So just saying that the business idea that you might come up with can lie in the problem that you are facing on your project also. So it might be possible that you think that, yeah, this is something which could have been easier. So let's turn that into an idea. It's very much possible. Cool. Now coming to my own interest, robotics. So in robotics, what happens is like again because I could not really make a slides, I just opened a bunch of websites which I can show. So really sorry for that, but yeah. So in robotics, these there was an era when the robotics was not very well developed. But today is an era when these robotics, rigid link robotics, is very well developed. It's suited for it is being used by very much every industries and production lines. So this is going with what Nambi Lakshmi said, that you can be the second or at most the third guy to build something, but don't be the 20th guy. Won't make any sense. So similar, this rigid link robotics is done. People have developed enough solution for this. So I would say that it's with that perspective. It's not that you don't need to learn this. You might need to know what are the fundamentals of this to be able to come up with better solutions. I just mean to say, don't use robotics to come up with these arms again. Come up with something which can work on a given defined problem statement. That's already done. You need to learn this concept and come up with something new. To that matter, this computer vision, artificial intelligence, and all, which works as the robotic brain, could be a potential area for you. I mean, I'm just giving a project idea here from what my interest lies in. Again, this is to do with what Pawan said, be a jack. Why? If I go with my story, then earlier I used to think that I'll just do mech, and I would expertise in that field. I mean, I'll just work on nice mechanisms, nice structures, weight optimization, nice design, and all that. But then, like, there was a time towards the end of my second year or so when a senior told me that I just went to him for consultation. So this is a nice thing that you should keep consulting your seniors or interested people. So I went to him and said, Ki, this is where I want to end up, and this is what I'm doing. He said that it's nice that you're doing this, but let me just caution you here that there are enough people around who can serve a company or serve a particular startup on mechanical, but you have to be unique in terms of that you can come up with mechanical as well as some other two domains expertise. So therein I realized that just mech won't help me at all, and I started doing other things. Again, it was related to my central theme robotics, but it spanned over like controls, artificial intelligence, computer vision, which I started recently. So this helps you in few different ways. uh, it just tells you that a particular mechanical design that you come up with might not be feasible from controls perspective, or a control scheme might be very difficult uh, to implement uh, from mechanical point of view. So these are the interlinks that I can find between the two subsystems, given I know the knowledge about both. So that's to again emphasize on the point what Pawan said, which I liked, which I really liked. I mean, like that was an awesome point to bring about. I didn't have this in my slide. I just put it after Pawan brought that point out. So let's proceed. What after rigid links? I said that this rigid links sort of in industries is done with. You don't have any more things to develop there, maybe, possibly, or because it's so optimized that almost all the industry's problems are being solved with that. So is it really the end of robotics, or do we have something else in robotics? So there comes another progress in soft robot, another new progress. So the soft robotics field is something different, wherein you no more have those rigid links. Over what was happening is that this particular section was rigid, but in this soft robotics, what happens is that nothing is rigid. As you can see, this particular red thing has been built. So why I'm bringing this point out with respect to robotics is that uh, although it might seem that a particular thing is already done with, you have many, it has been around for many years and people have really worked on it hard. It's implemented in industries, it's working very well. But if you go out and market and really ask, is it really the end, then it's gonna be no. There must be some loophole or some constraint that those particular applications must, that particular solution must be having to that application, and there lies your solution, there lies your project idea. So the entire theme of coming with soft robotics was that these robotic structure that you see are really working in closed arenas, as in you won't find any human around these robots while these are operational. This is because these rigid links are very harmful, are very dangerous, not harmful, very dangerous, and could be uh, uh, could harm you if you're around and these malfunctions. So that was the inspiration of coming up with soft robotics, wherein the name itself suggests soft. So even if it bangs you, you're not gonna get hurt a lot. So I won't tell you more on that topic because you that might not be the area of your research. But just to bring out that everything has some more potential. You just need to be very open and look at it from. You just need to think about it. You need to ponder about it. Go about market research, and I'm sure that you'll find a problem that you can take up to solve. This last statement is just to bring out the point of why people work in team. So again, uh, there was some nice person that I came across, and he shared to me that if my ability to think is A, then it might be possible that when I'm working on a problem statement, I might jump up to maximum C, wherein the limit is A to Z. So the limit is Z, but I might just think up to C because my ability is bounded by A. But if I'm working on a team, that same C could be pushed until F, G, or something like that. So that's why people do work in team to come up with great solutions. So I hope that whatever I shared added some insight to. Wait, was my screen not shared all this while?
It was shared. You just
Oh,
I guess Shubham is facing network issues.
hello.
Yeah, now you're audible. I guess you had, I mean, like you had been cut for some
Oh,
time.
nice. Uh, was my screen shared when I was just speaking about all?
Yeah, it was shared.
Oh, Jay, where did I get cut off? I mean, did I speak about my
Teamwork.
ability to yeah, so I guess yeah, that was that's great. I just had a last slide to uh, just flash. So this is again emphasizing on this point that I mentioned here. I mean, you just need to overcome the resistance to start. And at least in me, I have seen that this is the main problem which keeps me from implementing any solution. Once I start, I make sure that I end it. But it does happen that I take a while to start it. So make sure I have learned to overcome that resistance and start from something. Just as I said, hello world, which is very near, but do start from some, do start implementing things, and you'll see things falling in place. I hope that whatever insight I shared with you all was helpful. And yeah, I'm always reachable. You can just I'm sure that whenever you need to contact me, you'll be able to find my contact number because in Insta that's how it works. You can just ask for like iska contact चाहिए and मिल जाता है. So that's all. Thanks all for giving me this opportunity and thanks to Sure to me for this 10 minutes. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Shubham. And I thank all the speakers who have like shared their insights.
Hold on. Like I actually missed
Okay.
2 points. I just wanted to complete. Yeah. So first is that see, having just an idea doesn't matter. Like execution is all that matters. And as Nambi Lakshmi said that after they hibernated their project, within 1 year, alternatives to their project started coming into the market. So it's like ideas, sabko aate hai, like everybody gets ideas. Okay. So it's just that who executes it first and in a better, elegant way is all that matters. And see, like if you will not do it, somebody else will do it, and you will regret for the rest of your life for not giving it a try. So think about it also. And yeah, other point was like why not to specialize? Because see, like if you observe like a structure of a company, usually the lowest hierarchical workers, like workers or maybe employees, are doing a specialized work. Specialized work meaning a specific, a particular work every day, be it coding, be it some sort of like quality control, or maybe some sort of mechanical operation, whatever. And all the higher authorities, all the decision makers are the ones which have like who are not specialized but who have a very diverse experience and experience of all the subsystems or all the departments under them. So we need to be like that because that is what is valued in the world. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Carry on.
Thank you, Pavan, for the like those points. So that's it for from our side. And like a quick update about Technovation. So guys, we'll be having one more session after this, and then we'll close the registration deadline. Registration form, not the delay. So yeah, the deadline might get shifted a bit. So just a note on that, and stay tuned for our next thing also. So thanks, guys. I guess we can leave now. Oh, I just